Hello, welcome to Book Club. Today, these goofballs and I will,
Whoa.
Coming in
yeah,
hot.
yeah, you heard me,
Wow.
you heard me. We'll be talking about four great eras where we left off on. There's a lot in this one. Like literally, I
There
think
is.
like pretty much every spot that there's just something. Like my pages are covered in black.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I got sticky notes all over it.
but before
You.
we get into that, well, I have two things I want to say. There's two announcements I want to give out. One. Can we all give a round of applause for Connor for being promoted to number two? I just want to say that right. You know,
No,
congrats,
I will
Connor.
not actually.
You can clap.
Congratulations.
You can clap alone
You're
there.
you have earned
Hey guys,
Connor the Charm. You have earned your number two spot, and I hope you retain with great power and conviction. You know,
it
we've
won't
seen a
go to
lot.
my head.
Yes. Don't. Yeah, don't do that
It's
because
gonna
then
go
you'll
to
lose
his
it.
head.
Yeah, don't do that because then you'll lose it. And
I'm
then I
sorry, did a number
guess
3 just talk to me? That's weird.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch you fall as hard as Seth fell.
well,
Never
that's
just hear
that's a hard like
I don't even
it's hard to fall
remember
that
being.
low.
I've been at the bottom so long, I forgot what it's like to be anything but.
It's weird how I hear you talk and then I just hear like mosquitoes buzzing around.
Dude,
It's only
dude.
at the top, Connor. It's only at the top.
Mosquitoes.
Could have said crickets.
Coming
He could
from
have
a
hit us
chum
one.
muncher.
He could have hit us with one of these.
So true.
You'll get used to it though, Connor. It takes it take a little bit, but you'll get used to it. Announcement number two is I get to see a little bit of the stats, the analytics on
Ooh,
Spotify, and let me just say, I see about in the past like 30 days, there's been like 300 discoveries of us through the Spotify
wow.
search,
Oh,
through
No
Spotify
shit.
search,
Search.
but like only 15 from the Spotify library, which means you're finding us and you're probably listening to us, but hit that follow button because
Yeah,
then
bro.
there's
hit that
two
follow
things,
button.
okay, two things. One, you want to go through the whole process of searching and trying to like scroll or find us or something. No, it's right in your library, easy place. And
Yeah,
two,
dude.
if you click that bell icon,
Yeah.
you'll get notified whenever we
Notified.
whenever we post an episode.
Yeah. And you
So
don't want to miss a single one.
no, well
Okay, then you'll
that
be
Trust the
lost.
process.
Then you'll be
that and
lost.
it's just easier. Like if you genuinely, I'm actually like saying this just because it is easier if you do want to listen to us to like just try to go through that search bar and just follow it just being the library. But
While you're at it, smash that subscribe.
yeah,
And leave
if
us
you're watching on
5-star
YouTube,
review on Spotify.
Yeah.
oh, do that. Actually, do
Do
that for
that.
sure.
Do that. Do it. Do
Anyways,
it.
I can't believe we've gotten to the point where we're like only 5% of the listeners are subscribed. That's crazy.
dude, I mean, yeah, I saw that and I was like, wait a second,
It actually is
are we
5%.
there? We made it.
Are we there? We've made it, guys.
Me at 300 discoveries.
Hey, we're never forgetting our day ones, though. Never forgetting
Yeah,
our day
for real.
ones.
No,
No, we
never,
don't.
never.
No.
We know who's been
No,
here
you
since the
won't.
And that one
beginning.
goes out. That one goes out.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. She might not watch this episode. She's like, Nietzsche's taking too long.
No.
No.
Well, let her know that she's got about another. What
I
is
It's
told
got a
her when I
while.
Four
got halfway through
episodes?
the book. I was like, it's gonna be a while.
This one's gonna be a fat one. We
There's
really
not.
are only
I mean, there's not much we
halfway.
can do when it's just so good. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
It's just a lot of substance.
There's a lot
You
of
understand if
substance.
she listened to every episode.
Whoa, she's not listening to every episode. Whoa, Seth, red flag. I'm just saying. Nicole's been supporting. I'll say that. I'll say that.
Going on
So
playing the comparison game now.
Okay, Seth, it's all right. Alexa doesn't watch a single one of them.
I was gonna say, I know she hasn't seen any of them.
oh, that's so funny. Anyways, guys, let's stop being narcissists. All right, what the heck, man? I'll pass it off to Seth. You tell us how you've been doing.
Yeah, I'll stop being a narcissist by talking more about myself.
Exactly.
Love it.
Uh, it's been a really uneventful week. It's been amazing. I'm loving it. I just got back from the career fair, so I've been talking for like 8 hours straight today. Ready for another 2? Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. But yeah, so I'm actually excited to have a conversation because there wasn't much of that happen at the career fair. That's for sure. Yeah, not too much going on in Seth world, other than like
Hey, that's good, man. Upkeep, you know? It's been a
yeah,
while since you've had like a constant amount of time in the apartment, right? So
yeah,
it's good to get that
nice,
going.
nice. Oh, what about in Connor world? What's going on in Connor world?
Unman world.
World.
Oh, man.
Conman world.
Sure, dude. The
Con
freeze here
world.
in Texas, man, work been busy this
Oh yeah,
week.
the
Oh, I'm
freeze.
sure,
I
bro.
didn't think about that.
No. We had zero service calls in our queue on like Saturday or something like that. What before the freeze hit? I can't remember whenever the freeze hit. And the day that it hit at like 2 a.m., my dispatcher, she got 22 service calls in the first hour.
Dude.
But after today, tomorrow, we only have 4 service calls left in our queue. So we got it pretty
Nice.
quick.
Q Crusher
So,
Connor.
so were you guys like
Yeah.
working that entire, like during the entire freeze?
Uh, I worked Mondays. Half of our techs couldn't get out because of the freeze on
Okay.
Monday.
But
A
not
lot of the
Connor.
guys don't like the north, but not
Connor
me.
gets out.
I
Not
got
con,
out.
man.
Where I live wasn't hit all that bad. So I was able to get out. I had like 7 units, I think, on Monday that I had to look at. Yesterday I had, or the day before, or fuck, yesterday was Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday I had, I think, 14. Then today I only had 6. So kind of going down,
Fast.
you know, doing good. Um, and then we didn't have a book club last week, did we?
No, I think has it been 2 weeks or only?
And it's been 2
I swear
weeks.
we did.
We didn't
What,
do one last week.
well, in case I
Famously
didn't,
didn't do one last week.
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Well, last weekend, my sister-in-law had her gender reveal for her baby,
Who?
and I'm gonna be an uncle to a niece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's
Yeah,
go. That's hype.
yeah.
I thought
But I
maybe you
told
Congrats
were
to
him,
you,
gonna tell
Connor.
us.
Cool Uncle Con, man.
Yeah.
congrats to my brother and his wife.
Yeah.
Congrats to Connor for doing all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's what I said. I was like, man, just looking at him, I was like, I raised that boy, even though he's 6 weeks older than me. I raised him.
I made that man into what he is.
Exactly. If I didn't bully him, he would not be where he is today. But I told him, I was like, don't worry, man. You ever want your daughter to learn some useful shit, just send her to Uncle Connor's. Teach her how to take apart a HVAC system and how to put wheels on her car and all that good shit.
There you go.
She'll be coming back wearing flannels, though.
Oh no.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Flannels are cool as shit.
Well, I agree.
That's about it in Connor world. Pass it off to David.
Well, as well, been pretty uneventful. Work
I like
has
that
been
M12
slow.
on your shelf there.
Yeah.
12, yeah.
The whole workspace has gotten a major upgrade, and now I'm working on another little project here with recycling old vapes and all of those.
Just in case you think David picked up a new pastime.
Yeah,
No,
no. This is
since
all
the last
recycled
book club.
stuff because there's a lot of waste that goes with vapes, and all those lithium-ion cells, they could be used for many things. So we're taking care of that. Smelted some more, got an actual coal copper ingot here, so that was pretty
Ooh,
cool. So with work being slow, I've had some time to invest into my own little interest. But
that's
aside from
awesome.
that, yeah, Freeze kept everything pretty chill. Nothing too crazy going on. Um, yeah, that's about it for me. Ain't nothing too crazy. So I'll pass it off to Howie. Last but not least.
Yeah, for me, kind of much of the same. Not super crazy amount going on. Um, I'm
Oh,
finally. uh,
we all hit a dough drum in like the same week.
I know, right? There was like a decent gap, it wasn't like one week right after the other too. But yeah, no, I mean, not too much going on for me either. I work's not as busy as it once was. It's like I've been working some overtime a few days to really crank out this like final part of my final project. But it's gotten a little bit more normal, I guess you can say, I'm like working more normal hours. Um, it's so weird though because like after doing like all these projects, like all like these big projects and stuff, I feel like I've like almost gained more. I feel like a veteran now. You know what I'm saying? Like I almost feel like a veteran
He's
now.
grizzled.
Um, but other than that, not too much. I do have one thing I want to share. It's not even about me, but if you guys remember last time, I did mention something about some bookbinding, and
Mm-mm.
I do have the first product to share with you folks
Whoa!
Ooh,
to give you an idea of what we got here. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the before cover. This is what it looked like before. Okay, so this is Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. This was the before
Okay,
cover.
okay.
So
okay.
got your normal
But
like
a penguin classic.
yeah,
Mm.
and you got your normal like all the wording on the back and like all that stuff.
All that nasty wording about the author and
Yeah,
all,
who
taking up
cares about that
space.
guy? Mark Twain? Nobody. Um,
Nobody.
Never heard
but
of him.
yeah, you see, so it's like so paperback as well, right? What we have here after is this bad boy.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wait,
Holy
that's hype.
cow!
So we
That's
have like
cute
these
as
like
fuck.
corners right here, right? And then it's a
That
hardcover, as you can tell.
the paper looks like it's like art on a canvas.
Yeah,
That's
It's
crazy.
canvas paper actually.
Oh,
it's
that makes sense.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have the spine right here, a little boat at the top with Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and then this is the back.
Dude.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love
And so
that.
this is kind of like
That's
everything
beautiful.
together.
That
Yeah, it's
is.
crazy, right? It's like insane how like much
It
you can change it.
Yeah.
was the paper painted or was that custom art? Was the
Um,
art printed?
I think the art was printed. Um, of
Okay,
course, I'm not
okay.
the one who made it, so I don't
Mhm.
know as much of the fine details. But yeah, I think it was printed. And then you have, your little paper here on the inside, the blue paper. And then we have this little ribbon right here as like the bookmark.
The blue paper is such
Love
a nice
it, dude.
touch.
The
I
blue paper is
love
really
the
nice.
ribbons.
I know, the
Ribbons for
ribbon's
me are
so sick.
so good.
That's a game
It just
changer.
it makes you feel great, you know? But
Mad
Makes it feel
proud.
more professional. No, yeah.
Tell your wife, great
Huge.
Round
job.
of applause.
thank
Round
you.
of
Big
applause.
respect.
I will. I'll relate. So place your orders now. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
but yeah, that's all I got. If we are ready to dive into the four great errors.
The
Sounds like we're
four
on.
great errors. There was quite a lot here that I was curious about what he wanted to do with the ideas that he implanted into my brain. But we'll get further on to that.
He invaded my brain with his
Yeah, you
I
put them there with
ideas.
implanted
bare
my
hands.
brain. There were some points where I was like, okay, I see what you're saying, but I'm curious as to what the bigger general point of revealing this is and who it's geared towards. But that's in the later errors. We can start off with the very first one.
Yeah, it kind of works its way up, I feel like
Hmm.
with these
Hmm.
errors. So, I mean, I guess might as well start with saying what the error is, the first one.
Error
And that,
of confounding. Oh, yeah, confounding cause and effect. Something
Oh,
that I wanted to bring up that I liked. I liked this idea and this viewpoint, and it wasn't exactly stated, but well, I guess it was. It was in the second paragraph, and it said, no, I think it was in the third one. Yeah, it was in the third one. But essentially, to summarize it, naturally, truly happy people will refrain from doing naturally destructive things to themselves. And that was a interesting aspect of people who are starting to degenerate, or whatever the word he uses, will move to higher and stronger stimulants, luxury and riches, and other aspects of life that are similar to that. And I, like I said, it was just an interesting thing that was put that got my attention.
yeah, I think that's like one of his like biggest things of morality is actually like just right here where he's saying that like it tends to confuse the cause and and the effect where he says morality says, oh, do this and this and this and then you'll be happy, or if you do these things then you'll be a degenerate and you'll feel awful. And
Hmm.
he's like basically flipping it on his head, reversing the formula and saying, no, if you're happy, if you feel good, feel well, then you will naturally do good things. Or if you feel degenerative, ill, all this stuff, then you will do, bad, nasty things. So it's really interesting to look at as, the actions don't define who you are. It's you who defines what your actions are. It almost shifts the blame in a sense to you as a person a little bit, you know?
Mhm.
yeah. So it's essentially it's the idea that like you look at someone who does good things and you see that they're happy and you think, oh, if I do these good things too, I will also be happy. When in reality, it's their happiness that's causing them to do the good things. I feel that it's always easier to be like a good person when I'm in a great mood. You
Mhm.
Yeah.
know?
For me, I think it's more. I don't know if I want to say this is due to society, but I find that the reverse idea is more present in my field of view in everything. I normally, I think maybe I've been conditioned, or maybe I've just conditioned myself to think more of refrain from doing this, this, and this, and then I'll be happy. And that's just something that I've definitely. This is a new idea for me. I'd say that I haven't really put too much thought into be happy, and that causes you to do this, this, and this.
Well, I think it's also really interesting because, well, one, as a side note, I think this is like very common, this kind of thought process of, oh, I need to do this, or since I'm doing this, I will be happy, and not, being a good moral person will now make me a happy person. I think it's definitely very common because it's more substant, it's like, oh, I can clearly see what I need to do to be happy. And but like, if you think about it, it's almost a little bit more complex because you try to add all this criteria to be happy, and what he's saying is the happiness is actually the cause. It's what you can just like do, and then you'll do these good things, which is I feel like almost harder to wrap our head around. um I don't know if that's due to like our language, like we've kind of talked about last episode, or why, but I do think it's definitely a little bit harder to wrap your head around, or at least it's not the most, it's not the thing people first think of. Like that's not the first flow of thought that people come across, which I think is very interesting how his idea of the opposite is more common, if not
Mm.
like like I don't think anyone would ever think of like the way he thinks of it without him telling you
Being
to think of it
exposed to
this
the
way.
idea, yeah,
Yeah.
because the first thing that comes to my brain as to why I might think more of the other way of, oh, if I do this and this and then I'll be happy, is that rise in self-help that I think has been very prevalent in just every talking point of society, and whatever
Yeah.
this lonely epidemic that's going on, leads people to think more of self-help, that okay, do this to help myself to feel better about myself. That could be a different conversation, because I don't know, applying this thought process to something like that, somebody who's maybe generally not happy, how would that go about? How would you go about that? How would one change? Because
Well,
I guess my go ahead.
well, I know. I think I want to tag along because I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. It's like if you if you don't believe that you can do something to be happy, you have to believe that your happiness is out of your control. I think in our current world, it feels like we have so little control over like what's going on. And so obviously we turn to things like self-help because we just want control over something, anything. I mean, I deal with that all the time. That's like my biggest fear is lack of control. Like scared of roller coasters, bro. It's like at the end of the day, like I'm strapped in it. I don't have a choice. I'm on the ride now. Um, and so I think it's somewhat of a I don't know if it's like a cynical view, but I think, he says it's like uh, you know, thinking the that virtue is the result of his good fortune. Um, when in reality it's the very slowing of the metabolic process. So it's like you can't make yourself like live long. You just have to hope that you have a slow metabolic process. And so that's kind of my question is if happiness breeds virtue and sadness does not, if there's no cause, if we have been confounding those causes, which I think is somewhat correct. Like I don't think that doing good things necessarily predisposes you to like earn happiness. And I think the thing I really don't want to admit is that people can do bad things and still be happy. Um, I think, which I guess is missing the point. That's not really what he's saying. He's more saying that like people do bad things because they're unhappy. The question becomes, how do you become happy? Like, if that's the core of what is doing good things, how do you get there? And I don't
That's
know if
yeah.
he really answers that question.
Yeah, because it is an interesting point, because if you use the self-help videos as like an example, usually the people that are clicking on those are unhappy and they're trying to get out of their situation. So they're like, well, what are other people doing? Maybe if I follow this routine, I'll be happy myself, right? Well, if you were to click on that self-care video and it's like, all right, the key to being happy is to be happy.
You're,
It's like, well, shit. What the fuck does that
Well,
mean?
duh.
So
like
yeah,
sends you into a deeper spiral. You're like, what?
what? So okay, in order to be happy, I have to be happy. Okay. Okay. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so it is a good point.
I I think I think happiness comes from within, you know? I don't think you can just do good things and be happy, you know? Or do the right things and be happy. One, because right is subjective, you know. There's no like right or wrong um in a philosophical sense. Um so the thing with happiness is that I think it definitely comes within. It's not something that you can just perform acts and then say and wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I performed a act, now I'm happy." I mean, like, doing philanthropy, good things does make someone feel good, but I think we've talked about, just like having a fleeting feeling versus being like constantly happy. I'm pretty sure we've like mentioned that
Happy and
before.
joyous. I think that's what we said. There's a difference between having actual joy and just being happy.
Yeah. And so like that comes from, within yourself. I don't think that's just something that happens from external actions. I think that's kind of what he's trying to get at too. The thing is too is like if you are joyous, then you're almost more inclined to do good things because you feel good about yourself. So you don't have to. It's like a bullying to a certain extent, right? Where like people are upset with themselves, so they take out on others, and they're ill-tempered in these things because they don't feel comfortable with themselves. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to. Happiness does. It's comes down to really looking at yourself, accepting who you are, and being comfortable with yourself. And as long as you have that and, do the things that align with who you are, like let's say, for example, someone realizes that who they are is not a lawyer, right? They put the head pressure, they never want to be a lawyer, but they had this pressure, so they became a lawyer. But what they really wanted to, like after doing self-reflection of who they are, maybe they just wanted to be like a freaking landscaper, okay? So like they do that and now they're much happier. And as a result, they do nicer things, you know? Like sure they change their action, like their action is no longer being in court, it's rather being with nature, but that resulted from them now becoming happy because now they're more accepting and comfortable with themselves. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what he's trying
So
to get at.
yeah, I think that's a good point. So maybe it's a little bit like your action still is like if you are going down this route that you really don't want to be going down, like someone wakes up at 2 p.m. every single day and plays video games until 10 p.m. and then goes to bed and rinses and repeat, and they're like, "Well, I'm unhappy." It's well,
Back
then
to
maybe
the
you should
video game
change your.
example.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you, bro.
Yeah, or just sits around on TikTok from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. and then goes to bed, and then they're like, "Well, I'm unhappy." Well, it's like, well, then maybe you should change your routine. Maybe it's time, you know?
The thing with that too though is if you change it to something that like another thing you don't like enjoy that gives you fulfillment and happiness, then you're doing nothing. So I think you still have to go down that route of like some kind of self-reflection where you kind of
Right.
know who you are,
Yeah.
so that way you
Yeah.
can
So I
do the
think that's the
actions.
key.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a good point. If I think about it, he's not saying that you can't do things to affect your happiness. He's just saying that being a good person is not the thing. It's him saying that is just an example of a place where he thinks that we have consistently made the mistake of flipping them. One of our great errors.
Yeah.
Yeah, stems from
It's
morality,
not the error.
Don't
Yeah.
be a good
Just
person.
yeah. There's no reason to.
Just focus
If
on
you're not
yourself and
happy,
you'll
don't be a
naturally
good
become a good
person.
person.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, just stay unhappy.
Stay unhappy. That's the great area. You don't need to be happy.
um but one other thing is also made me think of, well, there's two things I kind of want to talk about. But one thing that just made me think of was he says basically, okay, I'll just read the part in there. Like he says, I say that he became ill, that he failed to resist the illness, was already the consequence of an impoverished life. I cannot speak. And hereditary exhaustion. Um, when he said that, it made me think of how I think people tend to naturally try to blame something else. Like they're almost in this case blaming the illness, or maybe blaming their immune system, right? And maybe they have a weak immune system. But what he's saying here is that that weak immune system, that illness, was because of their impoverished hereditary exhaustion, which I guess would weak immune system would probably be part of that. But like it's almost they try to shift the blame off of themselves, which I think is a very common trait in people nowadays, where no one likes to take the blame, right? And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I can't think of I guess an extreme example would be, if you put the blame on someone else to avoid death, But no, I mean that's not a good. I don't know. Like morality wise, I guess it's not a good reason. But anyways, like what I'm trying to say is like I can't think of a good reason to try to shift the blame because one, it blinds you from the truth. It helps you or stops you from kind of like getting to know what's actually going on and figuring out the cause. And then two, it like as a
That's
consequence
it
of
within
that,
yourself.
yeah, as a consequence of that, you're now hurt because you now know less. You're hurt because you don't know how to help yourself and all that stuff. So, I mean, do you guys kind of agree with that? Do you guys think there's like a good reason to try to shift the blame onto something else, or and like
There's
what?
a great reason. Makes me feel good.
Even
Yeah,
for a
but it's
fleeting
not
moment.
good, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
bring
but I
you
don't know that
joy.
when I'm doing it. I'm just like, ooh, ouchie, blame.
No, you see, Howie, you are making a great error right now. You don't have to do good things to be happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah, so
shifting the
true.
blame makes me happy.
Never thought of that. Well,
Hmm.
I honestly think it goes way further than making you feel good. I think I've literally seen people where they're confronted with an unalienable truth, or at least what I think is an unalienable truth, and they won't admit it because if they admit it, they have to admit that they have been wrong about so much, and that so much of what they complain about daily is hypocritical, and that's one of the worst feelings in the world is being a hypocrite. And
Mhm.
so it's almost easier to be like, no, I'm not at fault here because then you get to keep complaining about everybody else. It's like
Hmm.
you if you complain about everybody else, you can't take the blame because then you have to give everybody the same grace that you want to receive yourself, you
See,
know?
I understand that people do that, but I have never understood that logic. Whenever I find out that I'm wrong about something, I hate the feeling initially, but I would hate the feeling more if I continued to stand my ground after I know I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
See, Connor, but
That hurts more.
it's because that like by realizing you're wrong and then not admitting it in a sense, trying to shift the blame. That I think that's like a bad action, like an ill action as a result of an ill temperament now, because they
Yeah.
realize that they feel bad and they could feel. I think that you feel more relief afterwards, kind of like what you said, you feel more relief afterwards for admitting it. But now they feel bad, and so they're doing a bad action because they have an ill temperament.
Everything y'all are saying goes hand in hand with the error of imaginary causes, and we're not
Mm.
even there yet. But I did want to harp on what Howie was saying, that temperament uh, could be because of I guess I don't want to use will in the word will in this situation, but a lack of a strong character
Yes,
is kind
yes,
of what it
yes.
harps down to me, is a strong character would be able to handle that nasty feeling of shit. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I was so diabolically wrong. I can't even begin to come back. But you do anyways.
You
Somebody who
do if
maybe
you
can't
admit.
handle that feeling. Somebody who can't handle that feeling, like you said, would be more inclined to shy away from it because it's easier. It's something that they know. It's something that they've experienced. It's something, it's not an unknown feeling. And as we know, unknowing and unknown come with danger.
Mm,
Comes with these feelings that you might not understand. And when you don't understand something, it's hard to start to deal with it.
it's very true. People who can't. One, I think like basically two things that both like become exactly how you said was one, avoiding responsibility, which great leaders tend to take responsibility, right? And two, um being scared, I guess, of your emotions and feelings. You're not like, I mean, exactly like you said, strong character, or not having a strong character enough to like handle your emotions, you know? which I think is something that he says a lot, right? It's like being able to control your things, like your emotions, your instincts, and all that stuff.
We'll get to the error, but it's a little pre-taste of that because that's something that I very much got from the third one.
But yeah, I also saw something at the bottom of this error, which just it's a quick sidebar. No need to talk about, but I'll read it real quick. Effort is an objection. The god is typically distinguished from the hero. In my language, light feet are the first attribute of divinity, which does remind me of Taoism, especially when it said effort is an objection. Putting that extra effort and stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to,
Huh.
kind of create that connection again with Nietzsche and Taoism because I think it's kind of interesting.
Again, yeah, it's something I would never have expected coming from Nietzsche, or I wouldn't. I from the start of reading this book, I'd never expected to make any connections to Taoism, but here we are.
Yeah, or
And I
that
love
line would be
it.
the one that we're drawing between those two.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Well,
Now, do we want to move on to the second one? Because I'm not gonna lie, the second one is where those questions of mine arise as to, why bring this into the light? What's the real point? To who is this supposed to be directed to what? But the error of false causality.
take us there, David.
Didn't even really understand what this one was talking about. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was a little difficult for me to understand as well. I had to revisit it a couple of times. But let's see, I have a sticky note right here.
It, I think it's like as abstract as the idea of
Mm,
language.
yeah, it was because at first I was thinking, okay, the three inner facts are will, consciousness, and ego. And I think at some point he said consciousness and ego kind of just stem from the overarching inner fact of will. But shoot, I'm having trouble explaining what exactly my thought process on this because false causality is this him talking about the ego and these inner facts of a person being imaginary? Are they made up? Is that the point? Are they what are they? I can't say I really fully got the point of this passage. The error of the last thing. What did he say over here? No, I'm not gonna get there yet. No, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. This was quite a reader for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like on its face, it seems pretty simple. The error of false causality. Like you think something caused something when it doesn't. But then like the way he goes about like proving this error is like such a mind bender. Like I have no idea what he's saying by the end of it.
Well, I don't think he's saying the error of false causality, as in we're getting the cause incorrect. I think he's saying that we are making up a cause when there might not be one. It's kind of what I got from it. Um,
Okay.
it's kind of like how in the last chapter he said, I dare hope not language is the reason we still believe in God or something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but there's something along the lines of that, right? And I think this is along the same path of it as like we need a cause to like explain, like we need an explanation for things. As David said, we're afraid of the unknown. We like if we don't know what's going on, we're scared of it, and so we need to explain it. Um, and so I think he's saying here that kind of led to like at the end of this error, he says the error of spirit as cause mistaken for reality and made the measure of reality and called God, where he's basically saying that we needed a cause, and so we put inside of it, we put like will or ego or the spirit or like he even mentions the atom, you know, because like in all honesty, no one knows what the heck an atom is. It's just like some mystical term scientists gave something to try to explain the building blocks of life. And that's like
Yeah.
that's like yeah, that's basically what an atom is. Like we don't really get it. We don't know what this thing is. We just called it an atom and
Got
it set us
protons,
there.
neutrons, and electrons.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're right. It's literally just the word we use to try to describe a phenomenon that we don't fully understand.
Yeah.
It's like we kept digging down and going, there's something here,
There
but I
has to
don't
be a
know what it
reason.
is or how it works. There has to be something, and we called it an atom. I mean, like I'm remembering all those like old chemistry classes when they showed us like the different models of the atom, like the Bohr model and the grape jelly model or whatever they were called, and like it's kind of interesting to think that something that seems so fundamental and understood now at some point was just like we were just kind of throwing stuff at a wall and being like, yeah, I don't know, I feel like this is what it looks like. And then we figured out no, it can't look like that because of this and this and this. And we don't even know if it's like we still don't know what's going on down there. We're trying to figure it out, but you know, it's
Yeah.
So in this case, is the ego, the will, and and consciousness these terms that we're applying to things that we don't fully understand, the atom per se.
the
Exactly.
proton, the neutron, and the electron of causality.
It's like we force something to be a cause. So that way we can like have some kind of logic or reason in our small human brains.
That we do
Whereas,
something
yeah,
for a reason.
yeah. So that way, like, there's an explanation for it. But like, he's saying that's ridiculous. Why are we doing this? And that's what leads us to the current circumstances we have now with like morality, the atom, morality, like literally everything, science, religion, morality, metaphysics, metapsychology. It's just like these fanciful things which mean nothing, almost.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think I actually just recently read an XKCD comic that is like similar to this idea, where it's talking about like New Year's superstitions, and this kid asks his dad, "Is like, what's a superstition?" His dad is like, "It's something you tell yourself so that you can convince yourself that everything is your fault." It's like the idea that like you actually have such little power over what happens to you, but that's such a hard thought that we just like invent stupid stuff to kind of make it all come to again some matter of will. I think just to admit that like things can be meaningless in and of itself is like a really difficult and really depressing thought to kind of comprehend, you know?
Well, my question is, I mean, is that such a bad thing that we like do this? I think it because I think like Seth, how you mentioned like a couple episodes ago, how he was like, and Nietzsche said this was all pointless. You know, I mean, I think that like the like waste like thinking about this stuff is wasteful, is what he's saying, and that could be the bad thing. But like, I want to ask y'all what y'all think. I mean, is this such a bad thing to try to come up with these reasons and stuff like this?
Again, this is kind of where my questions arose. Well, what is the error? What is the grand error of this? Why is he shining a light on it? Well, what thought is this supposed to accomplish? Is this supposed to be more adhered towards religions, Christianity? Is that where he's kind of putting more of this thought to a? Or is he putting more of a focus on this thought for them or for what? It was something that rose for me. I
You're asking like who's the audience and what's the goal,
mhm.
essentially.
Hmm.
What yeah. Why is this an error? What's the biggest? Like you said, what is it so bad? Is it so bad for me to want to think I have a little bit of control over some things? Is that silly? Is that pointless? Is that absurd?
I mean, I think obviously he thinks it is, right? Like how he said it's wasteful. And I think it feels like he kind of has this like conception of enlightenment in his head, like this like higher state or understanding of being that we could reach if we didn't waste all of our mental effort believing these stupid four errors. But to me, like, to the point that like thinking about it as wasteful, bro. Being wasteful is like the most human thing you can do. Like that's what we're all about. That's our whole MO, bro. Or at least it has been
Right.
ever since I was born,
That's
you
not a
know.
good thing, I don't think, to be wasteful.
To be
But
wasteful is human.
But
but to be, yeah, like I
humans can
like,
change, though, Connor.
okay, yeah, some areas of, okay. Well, if we were truly gonna follow that down to its core and never be wasteful at all, ever, there are so many like normal things that you would have to give up that I don't think most people would be willing to give up.
You think your Germanic
Like,
tribes were wasteful, Seth?
yeah, in some way, like society is wasteful, right? Like we're coming together to create these like excesses of resources for what? Like they could be used for other animals or other things. Like
For money.
it, like, okay, it's really wasteful entertainment. What a tremendous waste of time and effort. All forms of entertainment. What is it really accomplishing? Where are we really going? Do you gain anything by watching a TV show or a movie or a sport or like a sports outing? Do you get anything from playing video games? Like, you know what's really wasteful? Food that tastes good. It don't gotta taste good. It could just be junk. You
Now
know,
you're
Did we get another
talking.
chum?
Now we're
Did we get another
talking.
chum?
could just be a block of nutrients. Like that would be the most efficient way to like feed everybody, right? But I think when you go down that path, you lose so much.
Hey,
Lose
Human
Stuff
joy.
that
experience
I'm not
becomes.
willing to give up. So call me
Yeah,
a
there he is.
waster. I'm a
welcome,
waster.
welcome to the team, Seth. Welcome to the
Oh
chum
heck
side.
no.
No, I'm
Welcome,
saying I'm
Seth.
No.
still against
Welcome.
you.
I do want to, okay, I do want to bring this thought into here because it might, to me it did bring a little bit more light into this whole idea. And from the later eras, what I got was he put an importance on fate instead of on your own responsibility of humans having their own free will. And that could possibly, that to me is making this seem more of a reason why he's calling it out as an error of false causality because of his idea about fate. And then the ego, the will, makes you imagine that you do have this freedom to do things that you decided to do that you end up affecting. But
He
again, that plays against his idea of fate. So hence why he's calling out this error of false causality.
That is a good point. Um, Real quick, I'm going to continue off that. I just want to make a quick side note about our previous conversation about waste. I don't think he does not want anyone to be wasteful. He likes music and all that stuff, right? So I think he does think like some wasteful activities that bring joy to your life are good. Anyways, um, he does he does David. That's a great point because he does mention how like this motive that we kind of come across and like figure out why people do the things they do, and how it is based off will as a cause, as if like a person has free will, and there's 100% a cause and a reason for their motive, which he doesn't believe in. He's like that's not a real thing. There's not actually a motive. It's like what we see, so like at the top layer. Um, that is a lot that, I mean, he describes that here. So I think that's a really good point of, you know, he's saying that we we come up with this will as a cause, but what it does is it takes us away from this idea of, or it takes us towards this idea of free will, which he believes is made up in the sense of, you know,
Hmm.
there,
Made up for control.
yeah, made up for control, so that way we can like say that this person, they're responsible for this. They're responsible for these actions, and so we have the authority to punish them. It's almost like a power thing. Like they can't. I think you like mentioned too. Like they almost came up for this reason of control over others by making the will as a cause, so that way they can put blame on people, and they can have the authority to punish them. kind of like a power trip thing. And I think another reason he brings us up to get even deeper is it almost takes us towards, how much he hates this like quote unquote fake world and not the sensing world by making these false causes that like in his mind don't exist, aren't real. We subconsciously put in our brain, this journey towards free will, this quote unquote fake world, by having these false causes. I mean, like how he says the error of spirit as cause mistaken for reality. We put this abstract idea as to who we are, like there's something behind it, the ego, um, and just put emphasis on that when it's really just as simple as this is the reality we are in, and people do things, obviously, but we put all this extra meaning behind it when it's maybe there isn't all that extra meaning behind it.
It's, yeah, because he is putting an emphasis on that in the religious aspect. Again, he's harping on Christianity a lot, um, and this greater idea that everything has, even the most disinterested action or the smallest action was part of an act of God. Is kind of what I feel like he's pushing against. Like he said in the very last paragraph, and called God. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's very interesting because that's why. Okay, I think that's why he mentions the error of false causality, because it makes us start to believe in something that doesn't exist because we are forcing our own abstract explanation of things, and it takes us away from the real world, the sensing world.
And yeah, like you said, trying to put an abstract motive and abstract will onto things that we are living within, so we can't actually know whether that abstract will is entirely true because we are living within the world and not outside of it.
Yeah. And one more thing about like the motive, it is kind of interesting when you think about how we just like say we know what this person is thinking and feeling and say, oh yeah, we know that's their motive. It is a little interesting, I think, to like assume that you 100% know why someone does the things they do and what they're thinking and feeling.
He really just does not fuck with religion, Christianity.
No,
Mm-mm.
big hater.
He doesn't. He
Big
does not.
hater energy. You know what? I agree with some of what you guys are saying, but I think I fundamentally disagree with this idea. I think you got a will, and I think you shouldn't be held accountable for your actions. Maybe I'm
It's
silly and maybe I'm beyond, but I think that sometimes I think I should do this thing, and then I go and do it. And like, what does that make friendship then? To me, like friendship is like doing the actions that you want to do for the people you love. Is it just lucky that we all like each other so much? Like we just got lucky that we all happen to only do stuff that each other likes. Maybe. But I feel like there's like there's something in there. Like I think that yeah, you're right. I can't truly understand everyone's motivations, and I can't even fully understand mine. But I think sometimes I can look back and go, yeah, I know why I did that, and it was dumb, but I did it. You
I
know,
mean, I'm gonna be there with you. I would say I also fundamentally disagree with this idea of, I don't know, this idea of will, ego, consciousness being a false causality, a part of the inner facts that we don't truly know about, and therefore, I don't know.
I, I think there has to be a will. Um, I think there just has to be because I mean that's what discipline is, in my opinion, to a certain extent. Is like it takes willpower. Like you have to have will to do things. Um,
Or to not.
my only thing is that I don't know if that's what he is referring to when he says the word will. Uh, it I think it is somewhat barrier of language, but I do not think that's what he's talking about when he says will. I do think he's kind of saying that man, I don't even know.
If
I
you
don't even know how to
disagree with
explain it.
this, I'm curious as to your thoughts on the fourth error.
I mean, I agree with y'all about will and everything. It just, well, I think he's trying to get across, and or at least my interpretation of it, which is probably different than what he's actually trying to say, is that we can't try to, because like, look, okay, we can say people do things because they willed it, right? But then what does that mean, right? Like I say willpower to have discipline and to do the things that you choose to do. And I know what that means as in like it takes like you avoid your instinct to do something and you choose to do this thing. To me, that's kind of what will slash discipline means. And I don't know if that's what he's saying when he uses the word will in this case. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I guess, I mean, this isn't really answering your question, but kind of just to clarify my point a little bit. I don't think that the error of false causality is necessarily like something that doesn't exist. Like, I definitely think that sometimes things happen and there's no, it just happened, you know? And in fact, I think that the obsession with constantly looking for a cause and a reason for everything around us, it's just it's such an exhausting way to live, you know? And so when it comes to that, I think he's got a point here. I just don't like his example. I don't think his example is a good one.
He does give extreme
Um,
examples for sure.
yeah. Um,
Maybe it is
and-
that overarching point of trying to find meaning within everything, a cause, whether it be spirit, ego, or consciousness, a greater consciousness, or an individual consciousness. Oh,
See, that's my thing. Is like I think he uses the words will, ego, spirit, even Adam. And I think to him, those all mean the same thing. But to us, I
yeah.
think will is very different than the atom. You know, I don't think to us that means the
Mhm.
same thing. I think what he's trying to use those words as representations of his idea, and not for the meaning of the word itself. I could be wrong. Maybe he does mean like actual will. Maybe he thinks will itself is dumb, and like he's like thinking why people believe in like will. I don't know. Maybe I do tend to side with the author, but or try to paint them in a positive light. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I think there's some kind of you have control over yourself. You have control over
Yeah.
yourself. You know,
I think the point he said that I think I can kind of get what he's going for is when he talks about he says will no longer moves anything, consequently it no longer explains anything. It merely accompanies proceedings. It can also be absent. That's that I get that. Like things can happen with or without your will. Things can happen against your will, right? But I don't think that necessarily like eradicates will as a cause for things. It just means that it might not be the strongest cause and it can be overpowered by other things that are happening in life, you know. Um, and maybe that's what he's trying to get at, this idea that we ascribe too much to these certain ideas when there's so many other explanations that are better suited for it, you know. Like you could argue like if an earthquake happens and your house collapses on you, like that's clearly not an act of will, you know. That's just a natural disaster. And some people could take it as far to be like, well, maybe that earthquake wouldn't have happened if we would have fracked a little less. And it's like, okay, dude, come on.
Or God is punishing us with this earthquake because we were sinful.
Yeah, like, okay, dude, come on. Like, it's just an earthquake. To figure out, like, to go much deeper than that is, I get it. I get what he's going for.
I do want to ask this question again, just because I'm curious. What do you guys? I mean, what do you guys think will is? Like, how would you describe it?
That's that's a surprisingly difficult question to answer for me.
Right? You can't
I know what
describe
it
it.
is. I feel what it is, but it's hard to describe what will is. It's my motive, not even motivation. It's me deciding to do something. It's me taking the conscious effort of thinking about doing something and then doing it. That is what will is to me.
So, like,
I
The
almost
curious.
will to do.
I almost went to describe it as like what you want to do, but that's desire, and that's a big difference, right?
Hmm.
Because I think sometimes you want to do things, and yet you will yourself to do something else. I think it's almost like now
Yeah,
that I
it's
think
hard,
about it,
isn't it?
It is hard, yeah.
now that I think about it, like, is it just the word I use to describe whatever wins, like
I
between all of the things that are going on inside?
I feel like you can. I'm sorry, I have to get the joke out. Will to me is short for William. Sorry, I tried so hard not to do it.
He was cooking
No,
it up.
You
I
didn't
was
try
cooking
very
it
hard.
up.
I feel like
I did.
Yeah,
I
you
mumbled
let
a
that
You
few
did
one. You
right.
words.
want to let that one
That's
go.
where, yeah, your will lost right there.
Yeah, I did. No, I think my will won there. I think will to
No,
me is almost, you could kind of describe it as like motivation in a way. It's like, yeah, you can will yourself to do other things, but and you might not be motivated to do other things, but motivation is not the right word.
that's what I was thinking. That's why I decided not to use the word motivation because it
well,
just doesn't
I
seem
just
fitting.
keep using. I keep trying to use all these other words, and I'm like, wait, no, that word means this.
Yeah. That's
You
the funny
know?
thing about words, man. They are imperfect.
Yeah, and see, so that
Yeah.
this is what I'm trying to say. I think that feeling we're all trying to describe, we all know what that feeling is, and people in the past have put on will, ego, spirit, these words to describe that feeling and try to make sense of it because we like right now we can't. It's hard for us to try to use our language to put it into words. Um, so what he's saying is we shouldn't try to put it into these words of like try to bring this feeling out into language and almost ideas. We should just recognize that it's there and that we do it, we have it, and then be just accept that. Or maybe that's just what I think, and I'm totally misconstruing what he's saying. I don't know, but maybe
No,
I don't even know if I think that. I'm just kind of spitting right now. The words are just kind
no,
of coming
I,
out.
I I really like this question that you've put upon us, Howie, and the different answers that we've all given. Even though I know, like you said, we all know inherently what it is. We feel it,
Yeah. I don't
and
even
yet,
like my answer.
You
yeah.
can't. It's impossible. I don't think you can. I don't think you can give an answer that you feel comfortable with.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
the point.
And that's yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe will is imperfect.
Mm.
That's what he's getting at here. The false and I this does kind of bring it back to the very first part that he says.
Yeah.
Out of the here, he talks about it right here. It was always believed that we knew what a cause was, but whence did we derive our knowledge, or more exactly, our belief that we knew about the matter? Out of the domain of the celebrated inner facts, none of which have hitherto proved themselves actually. That's about all. That's where I'll stop it. It's kind of going back to, like you said, using maybe this imperfect word to describe something that we inherently feel, but just don't know how to describe to one another.
Yeah, that's a perfect callback because how did like I mean right now like before I asked that question, we all assumed that oh yeah, it's will, duh, and I asked the question, and then we start realizing, wait, what? It's like when did we derive our knowledge or the belief that we possess this knowledge? Like if we really think about it, if you really think about it, like what? Wait, you know? Maybe we don't actually know. Maybe we can't try to describe
Maybe that's what he's
Okay,
getting at.
I'll give it to you, Howie.
it. I'm glad I asked that question a second time.
And look at that. Look at that. Another callback. Seth admitted he was wrong.
Things are going great.
That's got a strong character.
You
It
were,
does.
no, you're not wrong though, Seth.
But do I have
This
the
was,
good vibes? The
oh
good
Got,
yeah,
energy?
I think the
you got the
vibes are
good
good.
vibes
I think the
today.
vibes are good.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Vibes are nice.
Today's a
Well,
good day. You got the good vibes.
yeah.
guys, we do also have
I'm vibing.
6 more pages.
No, we've only covered 2 of the 4 great errors.
So let's get to the third one. The error of imaginary causes, which I know, David, I
Imaginary
think
causes.
you really like this part.
I don't even remember what I kind of got into such a big mind fuck with trying to describe what will was that I
This
kind
was
of
the hard
forgot what
one.
I was talking about.
This was the hard one though, for sure.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. This was the one that I had the most trouble. I had to listen to this a few times.
See, this one didn't seem, for me personally, didn't seem too bad. So,
No, I'm sorry. I meant the previous one we just covered.
oh,
That was
okay,
hard.
okay,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Because this one I think was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, this one. I like this one.
It was pretty easy to understand. This, you know, we in the dream it follows. We got sensation, seek to give it a meaning, and then imagine a cause for it. Sensation comes first, but we think of it as the effect of the cause. And then he describes that also happening in the waking life, IRL, in the real life. Um,
Can you elaborate? Because I'm low key kind of lost.
so imaginary causes. I have it a little. I don't know if you can see it too well, but I wrote a little arrow
Oh, yeah, I see.
of the order. Um,
You do
from the
keep the notes
dreams.
all up and down.
Yeah, I wasn't lying, bro. So what I got from this was you feeling a sensation and applying a cause or a meaning to this sensation instead of just feeling the sensation. It leads to applying maybe ideas to a sensation that you may subconsciously you subconsciously apply ideas to a sensation that leads you to make this feeling of unknown be more palatable and more easier to understand and easier to alleviate yourself from this uncomfortable feeling of unknowing, because as we talked about earlier, unknowing is it's uncomfortable for people. It's uncomfortable to not know something, so it's inherently just easier to apply something known to something that's unknown, because it alleviates you, it calms you, relaxes you. And that's kind of what I got from this chapter, that he was getting at, is it closes your mind to new ideas or other possibilities, because you apply something from your memory that you've already experienced, something that's known to you, to something that's unknown, and it closes your brain, is I guess how I can describe it. That's what I got. I don't know if you want me to go more in depth, or if there was something about that I didn't explain well.
I liked your explanation. I enjoyed it. I
I
think
get you.
I think for me, like, this is an idea I've been confronted with before outside of this book. Um, and again, while I think that there are like I can think of clear examples where I don't find this to be true in my head, I think I would once again be missing the point. Um, the problem isn't that the way you feel has no cause. It's when you ascribe causes to things that, again, aren't real. Like they're not worth like exploring, if that makes sense. Like, what's more important is going, I'm sick, let me do things to feel better now, you know. Well, I don't even believe that, bro. I, I feel like if like I'm sick, figuring out what made me sick might be valuable information to determine. Uh,
In that
like
case, it would be. What if you know, because you don't know why you're sick, you ascribe something that you already are, what's the word, that you already let's say you already
Experience.
exposed to something. Yeah, that's you've already experienced. So you ascribe that to whatever sickness you're feeling now. But as a result of that, you close your mind to the actual possibility of something else being a part of that sickness, the real thing that's caused that sickness within you, and now
okay,
you've derailed your own path.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
okay,
That just
I see.
yes, you
Yeah.
like triggered a light bulb in my head. It's like you're saying that, because people like fight this fear of the unknown with finding a cause for something, that they're like, oh, I like that. I feel nice. I figured that out, you know? And it kind of gets to the point now of you just want to figure out a reason. You don't care how much thought you put into it, or
Care if
if
it's
you actually
true.
find, yeah, if you don't care if you actually find the right cause, you just want to find a cause because it feels
Hmm.
kind of good. So
It's better than not knowing.
you just make
yeah,
one up.
yeah, so you just
Yeah. Like,
throw one out there.
yeah, you're like, oh man, I'm sick. I feel like I have a cold. It's just a cold. Well, guess what, bud? You have 2 weeks to live. You probably should have known.
Perfect example right there.
And then the other side too is you're sick, so you ascribe it to a cold, but if you actually like cared enough to like find the actual reason, you could have found an underlying health issue, which you might not have 2 weeks to live now, but if you figure it out now, then you could save yourself from having 2 weeks to live in like a year from now. So
Dude,
yeah.
man,
Yeah,
I
2 weeks
actually
of
got
candy.
called out for this exact thing at the doctor when I first went to my guy. He was like, "I bet you have horrible sinuses." And I'm like, "What the heck? What did I do?" He's like, "I can see it in your face and hear it in your nasally voice." I'm like, "Bro." But like the truth is he's like, "Yeah, there's probably something wrong in your in your like you need to go to like the ENT and also probably like an allergist because how you feel is not normal." Meanwhile, I'm over here going, I'm just a sick little guy. I just have snot in the morning. Like that's just who I
That's just
am,
normal.
because I don't want to dig deeper. I don't want to understand what's going on, like so yeah, I get it.
That's funny.
I
But
really
Oh,
I
dude,
really
I haven't gone
liked.
to the ENT yet.
I guess you should probably
Hey,
do
well,
that, huh?
at least you are now exposed to that idea, and you know.
Yeah, at
You're
least you
not
know.
closed
Yeah.
minded anymore.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I really like this part where he said, "It never suffices us merely to establish the fact that we feel so and so. We only acknowledge this fact. We only become conscious of it when we have furnished it with some kind of motivation." Um, Another callback a little bit to Taoism, I think. Feel the way you feel. And I think this is also just a callback to not just Taoism, but a good amount of philosophies is just kind of accepting how you feel, and that's that.
Yeah, I think that also kind of goes with like the false cause too, where it's like you just feel how you feel. You don't need to try to find, you don't need to make this like put this word on it. Unless, you are sick, in which case, you probably could find maybe hopefully
Go
find
to
a
an,
cause.
yeah,
What if
go
I
to an
just want to
allergy
be
doctor or something.
What if I
Yeah.
just want to be a snotty little boy? What if I'm just accepted of
I
my
mean, you
snoticism?
can do that. I mean,
You can, and
there'd
I
just be
think
consequences.
Connor likes snoticism.
he's got a little smirk on his face.
Better believe I did.
Yeah,
Amused.
Seth, that just means you're a little decadent. That's what that means.
just a little decadent. Just a little.
little,
A little
little
bit.
decadence, not as a.
Doesn't really go into how he applies this whole meaning onto religion and morality, though, and that is like the whole sixth paragraph.
Right.
He says morality and religion belong entirely to the psychology of error.
Sometimes I feel like he's just trying to beef.
Oh, for sure. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
think he literally just wants a shock factor most of the time. Like, I
he's
think he
just trying
literally
to
wants as
beef.
much like response to his works as he can possibly get.
But okay, well, he's talking about it in this. I highlighted this part. Explanation of unpleasant general feelings. They are determined by beings hostile to us, evil spirits. The most striking case, mistaking hysterics for witches. And I think he's applying this to religion in the sense that these sinful feelings are because you're sinful, and when you feel good, it's because you have trust in God. Is kind of what I got from the sixth paragraph about this error.
Well, to him, that would be all four in one. Because it's like, oh, you think trusting in God makes you happy? Well, actually, you just trust in God because you're happy. And also, trust in God isn't even a real cause. You just imagined it. And
Exactly.
also, it's not the reason you're happy at all. Like it's like that one statement quadruple combos him. Like that's the last thing he wants to hear. You know.
He says in the very first part, the whole domain of morality and religion comes under this conception of imaginary causes. He's trying to beef, man.
He's trying to beef.
He is, but I get it. I get it. And it's funny because we spent all this time talking about will, and then what's the fourth error?
The error of free will. Now, this was an idea that I personally, out of all of them, this was the most controversial
For
for
sure.
me.
I was actually kind of
Um,
surprised he like disagreed with free will, low key, because he's always seemed to me like the kind of person
Me
who's like,
too.
you can like
a little
you
bit.
you should be controlling what like yourself and your instincts and all this. But you should be controlling yourself, and I feel like that's like he's almost like saying you have free will to make your choices, right? So that's what like this one surprised me that he said this.
It's again, he's really harping on Christianity and organized religions here.
Dude, this guy hates Christianity.
He really
Well,
hates it,
He
man.
does. He
what's
really
so
does.
interesting is there's like sects of Christianity that don't believe in free will. Like
Really,
they're pretty. Yeah. What's it? Oh man, there's a really
like everything's
prominent
predetermined, right?
one. Yeah, I feel like it starts with a C, and it's named after a guy. It's like McCarthyism, but isn't that the one where you hate Soviets?
McCarthyism is communism, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm thinking of something else. Can I Google it?
Nothing Mormonism, are you?
It's not. No, it's a sect of Christianity, like an actually accepted one.
Yeah,
It
you're a
starts with a
Google guy.
C. It's not
Calvinism?
Lutheranism.
There
Calvinism.
goes
Thank
all.
you.
There goes all
Thank
of our
you.
Mormon subscribers.
Just a
All one
Calvinist.
of them. Calvinism. Thank you. Yes. Calvin was a big predestination kind of guy.
Online is Seth.
So
What do you know anything about it? Or is it just, that they don't believe in free will?
Calvinism, well, like it's the idea that like if God is like knows everything and knows all, then he must know like what your next move is going to be, right? And if he knows all of that, then how can you possibly think that you have free will when really it's all been laid out in front of you by God himself?
Didn't the screw tape layers like
So,
directly address that too?
yes, it did. Of course it did. Well, nobody's a Calvinist anymore. I mean, have you ever met anybody
Well,
who says
yeah.
they're a Calvinist? At least not in America. At least not in America. Wait, I am going to Google, do Calvinists still exist?
That's crazy.
That's what I want to know about.
Well,
Oh, they
it goes back to
absolutely still exist.
the accountability thing. It looks like what he's saying, which is again interesting.
Yeah, this was for me the most out of the four great eras. This is the most controversial one in my brain because this part right here: men were imagined to be quote unquote free in order that they might be condemned and punished, in order that they might become guilty. Consequently, every activity had to be thought of as voluntary. The origin of every activity had to be thought of as residing in consciousness, whereby the most absolute false coinage in psychologics was made a principle of psychology itself. I don't know, man. Only
Oh, this is
reason
what
free will was, but again, yeah, like, what
this is
is
what I was thinking of
will?
earlier.
Who is will? Where is will?
But I mean, like, okay, I see what he's saying when he's saying like you need to have free will in order to be guilty for it to like make sense, for it to be punishable. Because if they don't have free will, then it's not their choice in a sense to do what
Mm-hmm.
they do. But at the same time, like it's just so weird to me because he keeps on like from the previous chapters. It's like he's saying you do have choices in what you do, and all of a sudden it's like he's saying like people don't have choices. Like that's just a made up thing that people have
Why?
choices.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why you write a book of beef if you don't believe that people choose what they do.
Book of beef.
Like, what are you trying to, back to what David said, like, what are you trying to accomplish? Also, guys, sidebar, I Googled a little too much and now I'm beefing with Presbyterians. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
There's our
Like,
Presbyterian subscribers.
Calvinism is alive and well.
It's out there. It's doing great, huh? But I mean,
Okay, but let's do we want to like actually engage with his like logical ideas for why there is no free will?
I think we should talk about this because I think it's probably gonna be the last thing we talk about. Right.
Yes, there is
So
one thing that and we can maybe not talk about this if y'all don't see it the way I do, but or the importance. I think these few sentences kind of describe exactly what he's trying to get at when it comes to free will. He is not the result of a special purpose, a will, or an aim. The attempt is not here made to reach an ideal man, an ideal of a man, an ideal of happiness, or an ideal of morality. It is absurd to try to shut off man's nature towards some goal. We have invented the notion of a goal. In reality, a goal is lacking.
so to kind of like continue that, he says one is necessary. One is a piece of fate. One belongs to the whole. One is the whole. There exists nothing which could judge, measure, compare, condemn our being. For that would be to judge, measure, compare, condemn the whole. But nothing exists apart from the whole, which I thought was really interesting that he said this too, because it's almost like he's giving us a spiritual aspect that he believes about life, which is the idea of this unity or whole, which I thought was also interesting. Like this entire 7-8, like
Hmm.
literally made me feel like this was not Nietzsche. It's so strange to me. Um, but I get what he's saying. I think that he's just abstracting it a lot because we are thinking of accountability as in, oh, this person like did something wrong, so they should
Murdered
be held.
someone.
Yeah, they should be held accountable for it. They should be in jail and all that stuff. And he's over here talking about no one was chosen to be in this life. So how can we hold them accountable? You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, this guy killed someone. Like we should be holding him
He didn't
accountable.
choose to be alive, so how can we put him in jail for the things that he's doing while alive?
How can
I
we
thought of that.
blame him for doing that when that's just
He wasn't given a
his
choice.
nature? Yeah.
This
We must regain the innocence of becoming.
Real quick side note, as I was reading this, I could definitely see how these ideas could be misconstrued to follow the big scary man of the 1940s.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like when
Well,
we were
this
reading
this
Marcus
part right here for
Aurelius,
sure.
where I'm like, I can definitely tell how you could read Marcus Aurelius and hate women after that. Like, I can see, I won't take it, but I can see the path, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like here, you
That's
can see how you can totally hate Christianity after this, but I'm
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
take that path
exactly.
either.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I
and
can
I
see
think
why someone would.
I think it's important that we do draw that kind of stuff to light too. But because I mean this information and that's the thing about information is it is a weapon. You know, it can be used in the wrong ways, and people will take good ideas and they will misconstrue them to their heart's content. Just
Yeah.
look at our society today.
The most generous reading I want to give of this is that he doesn't necessarily object with the idea of free will purely, but he objects with the idea of using free will as a tool for subjugation. But even when I say that, it just sounds like he's against the idea of jail. Like it's just, like I don't
Oh,
know how to take
actually, okay,
this.
wait. It could come with this idea of going back. I'm sure y'all have heard this idea. Instead of jail, there being a sort of reform system, a system to help reform people because you're looking at their life and
Yes.
the decisions and the environment that led them to kind of maybe do less than desirable things. I want to say that that's kind of where you might be taking it, Seth. That or the kind of guess I'm expanding the idea a little bit, or maybe not. I don't know. Point is, I kind of see where that's sort of going. As yeah, maybe he is against jail per se, and he would want more of a no, but then I was gonna say he would want something more of a reform kind of system, but then at the same time, that kind of goes against the idea of somebody telling somebody else how to be an ideal man.
Yeah, yes. It's
Yeah.
like I want to read this generously, but then if I think about everything else he said, it's like I feel like he took us here for a reason.
So
Well,
I'll do this kind of in the whole same vein of like the criminology, right? um, Going down like a psychology route, right? And this is not me defending them, okay? This is just like the psychological studies that they've done, right? Is like all of these huge mass murderers, like John Wayne Gacy and all this other shit, right? They had horrible upbringings. So him saying like, well, they didn't choose to have these horrible upbringings, that doesn't mean they're. But I'm not saying that he's saying they're not wrong or that I'm saying they're not wrong. But do you see what I'm saying? Like
I think I see
him
what you're
saying like
saying.
they didn't choose
Yeah,
to be
Like
in that upbringing.
we can't
what
blame them, but he's not saying we have to act accordingly. I'm saying we have to act accordingly. I don't know if he's saying that, but I'm saying that. But like
Let's
what
make
I'm
the
saying that
distinction clear.
what I'm saying that he's saying at the very least is that we shouldn't blame them. Well, that's what I'm saying he's saying.
Oh, I kind of,
Slippery
in some
slope.
ways, I resonate with that too, because I do think that there is like, I mean, like for instance, like historical gang violence is usually just a cause of like it is something that seems to stem from immense poverty and people just doing whatever they can to like feed themselves and their family, right? And that's something that I can understand, like being, well, I can't understand it because I've never been there.
You can sympathize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, I can at
You're not
least,
sympathize.
it makes sense to me, um, but I still would say that you shouldn't be killing people. Like there's nuance here that I think he's purposely avoiding just to get his point across. That I think I want to believe that if we sat down in a room and was like, well, what about this? He'd be like, well, of course, yeah, that guy sucks. Like,
Let's
but
not
Well,
use an extreme example. Guy steals a loaf of bread to feed his starving family, right?
yeah.
There we go. You
I
know,
I want to. You made me think of something, Seth, and it's the idea of their upbringing, right? And I think he's saying like, it goes back to like the causes thing, right? Where it's like we blame the person themselves because they because of this idea of free will, whereas in fact, I think he's saying like the cause is actually the environment they grew up in, which
Yeah.
made them be this kind of person and do these things. Um, Another thing that I'm also thinking of when like kind of like thinking about blame and stuff and like people doing like wrongs to you is one of my favorite preachers of all time. who I love their preachings. Jesus Christ. Okay. Because
I was about to say what sponsor is he finna drop right
Yeah, I was thinking somebody else. I
TD
think somebody.
Jakes.
be- well the thing is like the thing that I think is so sad is that I think people misconstrued a lot like like use Christianity but don't actually follow the preachings of the
Yeah.
man himself.
It's a
Um
very unfortunate reality that we live in. It
but
happens far too often.
but like I mean
Mhm.
there was a reason why he was able to gain such a mass following with his words and obviously he's actually but like especially with his words because he said lots of good things and one of the things that I love is the idea of forgiving thy neighbor, right? Forgiving thy enemy, loving thy enemy. And it's the idea of like forgiveness to everyone, right? Because they're a human being. And even though they've done some awful things, to take the blame out of them because they are a human being. If they've done awful things, it is most likely due to the hurt that they have in their soul, right? Which is exactly what Nietzsche was saying earlier about it's not the acts that are the cause that of the hurtful soul, it's the hurtful soul that causes the acts. And I think that's kind of what he's saying with the free will for this example of like, using it as like guilty and punishment is that it's the wrong cause that we're trying to lay on people. Whereas, obviously they did harmful things and they should, we have to do something to act on that. We should still look to view them as a person and, recognize that, maybe they themselves, weren't the issue. It was just the environment and all these things that caused them to be this kind of person and do these kind of things. And then I mean, I'm not saying that he's saying the part about forgiveness, I'm grabbing that, from Christ, but to then like try to forgive in a sense, not blame them, show compassion.
It really does fall in line with a lot of what Nietzsche's saying. I didn't even draw that connection with Jesus Christ and this idea that Nietzsche is bringing. But
That's
I
the
think
thing
Nietzsche
that
says it
he's
poorly.
yeah.
He's
yeah
obviously not saying what I'm saying. I'm like
yeah
adding to what he's saying.
Mhm.
I
yeah.
think he just couldn't say what you said because he hates Christianity.
No,
He's
likely.
gotta hate organized religion. I feel like he doesn't
I
actually
think he
hate
hates See,
Christianity.
that's what I agree with you, David. I don't think he actually hates Christianity. I swear we read something where he was like a Christian, or maybe this was the myth of Sisyphus actually. But like a Christian can have these ideas of that he's trying to spout. And they can still have these ideas and be Christian. He just does not like organized religion because it causes these ideas. He's like forcing these ideas on people that he does
But
not
do
like.
you see what you just did, Howie?
Hmm.
You brought Nietzsche and Christianity together. You literally just did exactly what you preached.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
so true.
Yeah, it's something that, yeah, I mean, like I said, one of my favorite preachers because I truly believe in like his message.
I'm inspired.
Now you do good, Connor. You go out there, you do good.
I feel like
Even if
this
it's just
happens
for
every episode too.
even if it's just for future Connor.
Oh, future Connor, who cares?
But yeah, man, it's important. I
any
think.
I think I think that was a closing good closing thought.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
with that,
I don't know if anybody wants to wrap it up with anything else, but I think that's a great place to stop.
I would agree. Okay. Well, with that, let's plan out our next session. We have the Improvers of Mankind next, which is like pages. Obviously, we have to read this, but I think we should also read the next chapter, which is which is titled "What the Germans Lack."
Oh boy. What do they lack?
Little afraid of that one.
Tell us, Nietzsche, what do the Germans lack?
So
Yeah, I can't wait
up
to hear.
until raving expeditions of an inopportune philosopher.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a title for you guys.
yeah, I know. Our town was so different.
What does yours say?
Expeditions of an untimely man.
Oh, yours aren't raving.
They're not raving. They're just expeditions. He's just exploring.
He's an explorer, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, that one is so long.
Untimely
That
man.
one's like insanely long.
Gonna have to be by
The
itself.
ravings.
We'll have to see.
How long is it?
It's really long.
Oh
Holy
wow.
shit. Yeah, it just keeps on going.
We'll
Oh,
I think it's actually the entire last part of the book.
uh,
wait,
Oh
dude,
no, then he has his
he is
indebtedness to the
raving.
ancients.
that goes on. Oh my god.
It's so long, dude.
It's about.
Dude.
It's
No,
almost
there's
40
one more
pages.
after it.
That one might be
We
a
might have to
God
two-parter.
split that one up.
damn.
Yeah.
That's
That
definitely
one
a
might be a
two-parter.
two-parter.
Yeah,
We'll deal
that's
with it when we
definitely
get
a
there.
two-parter.
But right now we're not there yet.
Yeah, we still have to read about what the Germans lack.
Yeah.
Improvers of
So
mankind and what the Germans lack
we can probably do those two together, I'd
together.
say.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
what, like 8 pages?
All right.
Something like that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes, sir. We'll
All right. Meet
get that
next
going.
Tuesday, hopefully. Pencil it in for Tuesday, 7:30.
Pencil
It's
it
in the
in.
calendar.
Sounds good.
All right.
All
All
right,
right,
friends.
boys.
Sounds good.
Good book club.
Of
Good
course, as
nights.
always.
And sleep tight.
Don't let the
GG's.
bed bugs bite.
There you go. I'll
Right,
catch
see
y'all
y'all.
next time. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to today's book club. If you want to support us, please feel free to leave a rating and review on wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so either one of those would be great help. Also, leave a follow. That'd be amazing too. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, please leave some comments, like the video, subscribe. Another way you can help support us is we are Amazon affiliates, which means you'll see in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast on the episode, there will be a link to the book that we are currently covering, or if we spin the wheel to select our next book, you'll also see a link to the next book that we will be covering as well. And these links are to the books the exact same books that we are reading during the podcast. So, if you're going to read the book anyways, it'd be a great help if you could use the link. It's going to be no additional cost to you. And we do get a small uh, percentage of the proceeds. So you get a book and we also get a benefit. It's a win-win, honestly. And even if you don't get, like, even if you don't use the link, I still recommend getting the book. One, because, it helps to read what we're reading. So you can kind of have some more context into what we are discussing, as well as, having your own book. We're not covering everything in the book on the podcast. That's impossible to do in an hour and a half. And so it allows you to get some really nice information in there that, again, we just can't cover. And it also allows you to annotate your own book. So, if years down the line, you can kind of come back to the book, kind of remind yourself on the lessons you learned. And, if you reread it again, you can have almost like a conversation with yourself back in time too. It's really an investment to, I think, read and buy books. So again, thank you for listening to Book Club and can't wait to catch you in the next one.